What's up, Warshippers? SeaRaptor here, bringing you a replay, a battle report, as I'm going to start calling them. I haven't done one of these since I kind of relaunched the channel in the fall, and I started off this channel very, very long time ago, nearly 3 years, intending to do nothing but German cruiser replays and highlights of that particular line and kind of become a specialist in it. I never really got it off the ground. I got sucked into the wiki and all the various time sinks that went along with that, and just have never made the time to get back into doing replays. My good buddy Lord Zath has kind of filled that niche for so many people that I know, looking at replays of good games and bad games and providing commentary. And it's pretty rare that I find one of my own that's worthwhile. Sometimes they're funny. There's always little funny moments, but usually it's not worth watching an entire game. But this is a special exception, in my opinion. This is one of those games where you just look back and you think, we had no right to win this game, and yet somehow we managed it. And so here I am on New Year's Day taking out my Lo Yang. This is in the middle of a run of battles where I'm grinding steel. I left it kind of late, right? I had holidays, I had family stuff going on, and I didn't really take the time to start really working on my steel until New Year's Day. And so I sat down, I had the whole day off, and I was just plowing through co-op games, blowing through Tier 8, Tier 9, Tier 10 premiums, grinding up steel. And after about, 8 or 9 of these in a row, just going in and blowing up bots, I decided, guys, I want to play a game against real-life humans, just to mix things up. So I decided I'd take out my Lo Yang, and this is what I got. A Tier 9 battle with carriers, which I absolutely don't want to see in this ship, because, well, I don't have DFAA. So I start off here on the western side of the map. I'm initially avoiding the cap circle because I don't know where the Taiho's planes are. Once I see that his planes are way over at D, all his torp bombers, all his fighters, I decide, okay, I can risk pushing into the cap. Yeah, he'll know I'm here, but his planes have got a ways to go and I can keep an eye on things. So we start into the cap. Now, the Kiev on the other team doesn't really bother me all that much, but the Kitakazi is someone I absolutely don't want to get in a gunfight with. So as I start capping this point, bam, somebody's in here with me. Somebody with pretty good detection. Ah, crap. It's the friggin' Kitakazi, isn't it? It probably has to be. Well, I outspot him a little bit. That's something. So we'll pop the sonar here. We do that. And don't want him to just randomly dump torps at me. Plus, if nothing else, I can help screen for my team. There he is now. I do outspot him just a smidge. Literally 100 meters. And because I'm reversing, I'm able to control my speed and not get spotted. He pops smoke. Does eventually drift out of the cap here. But then ends up reversing back in. Now with my hydro on, I decide I'm going to get smart. I'm going to continue reversing. See, he pops out, now he's back in. So I'm going to continue reversing and try and get up here and get him locked up on hydro. But I don't catch that Cleveland until it's too late. So now I'm radared at the bottom end of the cap. He knows I'm here. Actually, I think he might not have known. I think the radar expired right as I fired. So my gunshots kind of out me here. I do end up panicking a little bit. I smoke up, thinking, well, if the radar can't last forever, I'll take a few shots, I take some damage, and I drive him off out of the cap. Cleveland shots comes in. I take about 8,000 damage there. It's not bad. It's not fatal, especially since, well, I'm still got a small stealth advantage here. I dump the torps expecting him to try to contest the cap, but he does exactly what I don't expect. He bails out. Someone's got him spotted. I'm not entirely sure. Probably the San Luis, especially since he's continuing to fire. And now he does one of the worst things he could possibly do in this situation, and he runs aground. Now, at least I've got my sonar up. That's going to give me ample time to dodge this torp salvo he's thrown into my smoke. I'm still capping, of course, and my team, to their credit, is doing a really good job of laying into this guy. I, unfortunately, am not having a very good game with these guns. I'm just not landing shells. I'm not aiming right. We lose sight of him briefly. He comes back. He's on fire. Everyone's pounding on this guy, which is good. He needs to die. I particularly have a vested interest in getting this guy off the board because he's a real threat to me. The Kiev, at long range, yes. But the Kitakazi at close range will absolutely destroy me. And things are looking really good. I think we're going to get this guy. And sure enough, the Neptune bags him. In the meantime, I've capped A. And the team, unfortunately, I don't realize this for a bit, but if you look at the minimap, my team has pretty much abandoned the entire other side of the map. Now, I suspect some of that has to do with the fact that the enemy carrier had such a heavy presence over there. Certainly, it cost us our Tier 9 Fletcher, who headed in that direction. He did not survive the experience, And now I am the only remaining destroyer on my team to match up against the Kiev on the other side. So I've got lots of allies and lots of teammates behind me, but it's going to become pretty clear pretty quickly that we're being shoved into the corner of the map. Everyone is running. No one is stopping to fight. No one is really thinking about their position. And we're going to end up losing an extra cap here momentarily. In the meantime, I decide I'm going to push up on these battleships. The Bismarck is continuing to move forward. I think he really smells Neptune blood up there. He knows how fragile that Neptune is. And the Vanguard is right behind him. But the Vanguard's going to do something interesting in a minute. He's going to turn to port and cut straight across the D line into the middle of the map. So as I approach this Bismarck for a torpedo run, I catch sight of the Vanguard doing this, and I decide, all right, I'm going to short up this salvo on the Bismarck, expecting him to adjust his course a little bit somewhere there. He'll lose speed, and so firing it exactly at the marker is not a good play. So he gets a rack, and then I turn to starboard, and decide I want to dump a rack on the Vanguard. But now this guy's harder to judge. I expect him to hold that course, but I also expect him to turn out just a little bit, so I lead him probably a little farther than I should have. The Bismarck, however, is getting focused. He's not going to be around very long if he continues down that course. He realizes this, and he bails out. As I cut back to the cut back to the east, I got my directions all mixed up, I realize that I'm very, very close to this Iowa and this Ibuki, and I really need to pull back south. Otherwise, I'm going to be, well, it's not going to be enjoyable. The torp salvo on the Bismarck is obviously going to miss. He's turned due west and is going nowhere, but I do manage to put one into the bow of the Vanguard. Do get a flood out of it, and I didn't realize it at the time, but he floods, and he floods for a while. So this was damage I didn't realize I was going to get. Now this Ibuki here, he is being super aggressive. You see him here, it looks like he's going to try and push into this side of the cap. He changes his mind. He flips around that island and goes to the other side of the cap. I'm trying to get a torp salvo off on this Iowa, but he's about to turn north and deny me the luxury. So I'm waiting for my torps to reload to hopefully finish off this Vanguard. But again, my team, to their credit, they're all over here. They seem to have nothing better to shoot at. They're continuing to just hammer this Vanguard, and he will not be with us very much longer. Bismarck finally goes down way over on the one line, and we're back yet even. Both teams each on a cap, both teams on 3 kills. Again, I don't realize that the Vanguard is burning. I can see that, but I don't realize he's flooding until in a few seconds I bag a kill marker. Bam, and oh, he was flooding. I missed that completely. Now, one of the things that's going to come very obvious as the game develops, and you're about to see more demonstration of it right here in front of you, is that our carrier is a complete potato, and the enemy carrier knows the business end of his Taiho. The enemy carrier already has 2 kills. He's about to bag his 3rd as he brings in his torpedo squadrons to farm this hapless King George V, who's right off my bow. Our Essex doesn't really seem to have the least idea what to do with his ships or his planes. It is, frankly, it's rather disgusting to watch. If you're looking for a poster child of why the CV rework has to happen, folks, this game right here is a great example. So I'm getting out of this cap. I can't be this far forward, especially if this Taiho sniffs me out and decides he wants to wipe me out. There's nothing I can do. I'm pulling back, trying to get back towards friendly cover a little bit, and see what I can do. I dumped the torps. I spaced them a little bit, trying for this Ibuki. I don't know what he's going to do, but I know he's close enough that it's worth, if nothing else, throwing the torpedoes over there and hoping that he'll make a mistake. He realizes he's pushed up a little too far when the battleship's starting on him, I think. But he also detects my torpedoes a little too late for his own good and does take 2 amidships. So between that and the battleships, we hammer him pretty decently, and then he doesn't quite turn fast enough, and 1 torp out of my 2nd salvo clips him in the stern. Well, again, we're back even on kills. 5 apiece, each on a cap, but they've finally managed to swing all the way down the 7 line and put 2 cruisers into sea. And we have no eyes on sea right now. Everybody has moved too far to the west, and we're just SOL. So with nothing better to do, I decide, well, hell, if these guys aren't going to defend our cap, I'm going to go back and defend it, even if it means getting into a gunfight with 2 cruisers, which is generally not advisable to one's health. Now, to our credit, the team is doing a decent job of taking shots at these guys, so maybe all I have to do is move up and spot and keep them lit, especially the Ibuki, who have better stealth, than the York. But I decide, well, if I have to get in a gunfight, I will. But I'm waiting for the shot. The York has been reset a couple times. I'm waiting for the Ibuki to come into range, but I'm not going to get there. My gun range is just too short, and they are going to bag C. This Nelson moving through the center of the map has been pretty ballsy. So I decide, all right, well, let's see what I can do with you. Realizing that my earlier flooding tactics and spacing out salvos might work on him, I intentionally space these salvos out about 20 to 25 seconds, trying to see here if I can get a flood to stick. But now I'm in another position. Now I'm in another bad position. I've got a Nelson pushing me from astern. I've got a York who's literally coming directly at me off the bow. He probably has hydro. I don't want to be here, or I'm going to be in doo-doo. So I turn back. I can't push with nobody else behind me. Certainly not while these cruisers are alive. And again, my battleships are continuing to shoot at them, but so far they're still here. We actually have a ship advantage at the moment. We're up 1 kill and nearly 80,000 hit points. So this bizarre strategy of everybody pile into the west is working for the moment. The kind of lemming train, I suppose, but it's given up a lot of points. It will eventually cost us in giving up points on caps because of course we're now down a cap, and that's going to be the case for a while. Nelson eats 2 torps, doesn't take a flood. Looks like he's going to take a third. I think he takes a third. Yes, he does, but still no flood. What is with that? So no floods on that guy. Three good torps, 3 solid damage. And, well, all I can do now is what I can do. So the York is already now on the other side of this island, already in torpedo range. Already in hydro range of me. And I decide, well, to hell with it. Sabuki looks like he's going to burn out. I don't want to take any chances. Let's open up and get rid of him. So they know I'm here now, as if they haven't figured it out already. And I do manage to land the last 67 damage on the Ibuki for a kill. Again, the York probably knows I'm here by now, so I figure, well, I'll see if I can at least get a fire on this Nelson. But even that has denied me because, well, someone's about to take him out. I think it's the Missouri finally bags him as he's turning and showing the Missouri a beautiful broadside. And there comes the salvo, and there goes the Nelson. So now it's just me and this York. This York's on about 4,000 HP, and I'm like, well, I could take a 4,000 HP cruiser with these guns. I load the AP at 6 kilometers and start going to town. Getting 1,000-point salvos here. That's not too shabby. Only need a couple more dings, and bam, kill number 4. So now we're actually up 2 ships, but we're still down caps. So we're going to continue. We're down points, and we're continuing to trail, and we're going to continue to fall farther behind because we haven't owned caps for very long. So obviously, I have to get onto sea as quick as I can. No speed boost, so all I can do is crank her up to full, about 40 knots or so, and plow ahead. Now, our CV, I said earlier our CV was bad, and you're going to see an example of why that is here momentarily. The Taiho, if you look at the minimap, the Taiho is pushed all the way up to the southwestern edge of the B cap and is literally in the center of the map. So he's able to cycle his planes very quickly. But look at those fighters. Look at what the Essex's fighters are doing while the Taiho is murderizing our Leon. Virtually nothing. They're just chilling out. He finally brings his fighters in eventually, but it's far too late for the Leon, who takes a bunch of damage. And then his fighters, he follows the torpedo bombers back over the Taiho. So now he's trying to dogfight the enemy fighter squadrons literally sitting in the carrier's short-range AA bubble. So I'm 100% confident that Taiho popped his defensive AA to win that fight. And then that cleans our Essex out of the air again. This enemy Taiho literally has his way with us just all game long. Literally. It's utterly ridiculous how outclassed our Essex is. Because, yep, there goes the Leon. So at least I'm back into to C now. I'm capping C. We're going to pick this up momentarily. And the Essex is so far out of the battle, he's garbage. He's down the corner of the map. Its planes take forever to reload and forever to get into the fight. So I don't even count him anymore. So we're down to 3 ships. And I basically tell the guys on the team, I said, look, what do you got? You got to head back to A, or the Kiev will cap A. We cannot afford to give up a cap right now. We're 200 points down. We're about to hold that gap. By the time I pick up this cap in another 15 seconds or so, we'll at least be able to hold steady where we are, but we aren't going to make up ground for a while. So you need to hold A. You've got to go back and at least discourage that Kiev from getting into A. You see here, of course, the Essex continuing to throw his bombers at the Taiho. Doesn't matter that the fighters are on top of them. We're just going to charge in. We don't care how many planes die. To hell with it. We don't care. I know people complain about the carrier. People are terrified of the carrier rework. But when I see carrier play like this, I think, guys, something has got to change because this is god awful. It's painful. It's physically painful to watch carrier play this inept and this bad. You just, it's like, how did you get to an Essex? You don't even really know what buttons to push. It's depressing. What's more depressing is that Taiho is about to have his way with this yet again, as that triple torpedo bomber strike is going in on the Missouri and the San Luis. Now, the San Luis and the Missouri are close together, right? They are essentially sharing AA bubbles. I don't know if the San Luis has DFAA. Actually, I can tell you right now, he doesn't, because in a moment, what's going to happen, this torpedo drop is going to go in and clean off the last 51,000 hit points our Missouri has. So that effectively is going to leave me and the San Luis. Now, the San Luis player, to his credit, is playing a very, very good game. I mean, he must not have DFA, which is frustrating, but he's doing a great job. He's moving up, he's protecting the cap, and he realizes that this carrier is in a very vulnerable position. I decide I've just had enough of this garbage. We're going to lose this game, and I don't care. I'm going to kill this carrier. It's the last thing I do. I dump these torps way back here, forgetting that they're out of range. They're only 9.2 kilometer torps, and they're gonna run out just shy of that carrier, and I don't realize it until I get a little close. The Nagato, the last surviving battleship of the enemy team, he's moved back into into B, and so I expect at any time for him to just turn his guns and wipe me off the board. And so I'm YOLO charging essentially. I'm like, you know what? This CV has irritated me. I'm gonna get damage on him. I'm gonna make him a complete nuisance. And I'm just going to be a jerk and shoot at this guy all game and farm damage, because we're going to lose. Look at this. We're 60 seconds from losing. The enemy team is ticking up. They're over 950 points. Those torpedoes are going to run out. I did launch the second rack, but they've got a little ways to go. So, oh well. I'm just going to light him on fire. I'm tired. I want this game to be over. And I'm looking at my torpedo reload thinking, well, if for some reason I live, I'm continuing to get close to this Nagato, I can at least just wait for the torpedo reload to come up if I live and torp the Nagato at close range. That's something. There they are, 978 points. 25 seconds from victory now. 978. And I'm just expecting to lose. This is essentially over. And then suddenly, things change. One of my second set of Sorps does get into the Taiho. 990, 994, and the enemy our carrier sneaks a single torpedo in, and suddenly, the game is a lot more interesting. With the Taiho off the board, the Nagato's never even turned his guns to me. My torps have just reloaded. This is like taking candy from a baby. The auto drops from the Taiho aren't going to matter. I'll just steer through those. There's my Kraken. As bam, suddenly we're only 90 points down, and I'm into the cap. 2 minutes to play, though. It's going to take me 60 seconds to cap this out. It still might not be enough. So, what we really need now is our carrier to continue to spot the Kiev. I go ahead and smoke up. I don't want that Kiev to try and reset me. I don't want anybody to try and reset me. I can't afford the time. But our carrier is, that's probably like his last bomber or something. Look at this. He's got a fighter over here sailing around trying to shoot down bombers. Man, we got to get eyes on this Kiev. Now, I originally think, okay, I'm going to cap this one, and then I'm going to turn and go to D. Unfortunately, I realized by the time we cap, I'm not going to have time to get to D. I'm just not going to have time to get set foot onto the cap. So I realize as the timer ticks down, you're going to have to kill this Kiev. And our carrier won't spot him. Literally. Like, he's got a fighter. Go spot him. You're just tangling with those bombers is just going to get your fighter killed. Sooner or later, one of those bombers is going to get lucky with one of their rear gunners and shoot your fighter down. And then we're going to be screwed. Well, we're 60 points down now, 60 seconds to play. I turn back north. I'm like, no, we're going to have to find this Kiev. It's the only way. And sure enough, the last friendly fighter is dead. So we literally have no way to spot this Kiev. Our Essex has pulled that lone bomber we had earlier, pulling him back, going to reload him. I think he thinks he's going to reload him. So I'm writing this game off. Once again, we're done. This is a joke. We busted our asses. Here I am with a Kraken and a Confederate. 160,000 damage in a middle tier destroyer. I'm only tier 8 in a tier 9 game. This is an outstanding game, right? For me, anyway. I've had a great game, and we're going to lose, and it's disheartening. You get bummed. And all we have to do is spot the Kiev, right? The San Luis doing his job. He's pushing up there, trying to find him, but we need spotting, and we just don't have it. The CV, unfortunately, of course, has been just mostly useless all game, continuing to be useless here when we need him most. And as time ticks down with 10 seconds to go, I look up at the score. We're 9 points down. Wait a minute. Hold on. 4, 3, 2, wait. And just before time runs out, we take over for a 3-point lead and a victory. So, guys, let that be a lesson to you. Even in the most ridiculously hopeless situation, never stop, never stopping. Keep playing. You never know what is going to actually come out of a game. That is a game that, honestly, we had no right to win because our CV was so outclassed. Our team lemming trained to one corner of the map, surrendered to essentially total map control to their team, and yet somehow we managed to claw back into it because they made even more mistakes at the wrong times than we did. So, guys, I hope you're having a great 2019 so far. Got some more videos coming this week. Thanks, and we will see you later.